There's a kind of heaviness that doesn't show up on camera. It doesn't creak like a floorboard or pile up like clutter. It sits in the corners of your home and the folds of your daily life, quiet, unspoken, unseen. You might call it fatigue, or tension, or fog, but in Feng Shui, we call it stagnant qi. And while it might not be loud, it's powerful. It's the weight that gathers after long days filled with tasks that don't feed you. It's the static that accumulates in rooms where emotions go unspoken. It's the emotional dust of devices always on, always watching, always interrupting. And while most people try to fix that feeling with a candle, or a playlist, or a fresh coat of paint, what they really need is something far simpler. They need a plant that doesn't just decorate, but detoxifies. A presence that doesn't soften, but sharpens. A living reminder that peace isn't the absence of noise, it's the clarity underneath it. This is where the Dracaena enters. The Dracaena isn't glamorous. It doesn't produce fragrant flowers or trailing vines. It doesn't try to charm, it stands. With vertical leaves that rise like focused thoughts and roots that filter both air and energy, the Dracaena is one of the most underrated energetic tools in Feng Shui. It's not the plant you show off, it's the plant that quietly changes how your home feels after you close your laptop. After the emails stop, after the last conversation ends, and you're left alone with your own atmosphere. In the language of energy design, Dracaena is structure, it's filtration, it's recalibration. It doesn't just freshen the air, it reshapes it, especially in spaces that are overstimulated, emotionally congested, or tech-saturated. Now, if you're the kind of person who spends hours behind screens, who often feels mentally full but emotionally drained, who walks into certain rooms in your home and feels heavier instead of lighter, this plant may be one of the most powerful upgrades you can make. And not because it's trendy, but because it's aligned. So today we're not just talking about a house plant. We're talking about an ally, a tool, a living detox system for your energetic field. And we're going to explore it the way it deserves, not as a styling element, but as a functional partner in the flow of your home. You'll learn exactly how the Dracaena filters more than just toxins, how its shape influences your mental rhythm, and how even the smallest placement decisions can determine whether your home makes you clearer or more confused. And just in case you think this is only about green leaves and Feng Shui terms, I'll share a real-life story in the middle of this video about a global figure, someone you know, who used the Dracaena plant as part of a quiet reinvention of her creative space. Not for beauty, not for likes, but for energetic survival, for emotional recalibration, and yes, for deep, unshakable clarity. Because even at the highest levels of performance and wealth, the environment still decides how far we go and how well we feel along the way. So if you're still with me right now, that tells me something. It tells me that you're not here for surface level tips. You're here to build something deeper. A home that doesn't just look good, but feels right. A space that doesn't just impress guests, but protects your own nervous system. And if that's you, I want to thank you for being someone who cares enough to listen, to feel, to align. And before we dive deeper into the specifics of how to use the Dracaena plant in your own space, I'll ask something small that helps us grow with meaning. If this video is already giving you a new perspective, if it's helping you feel more empowered in how you design your space, would you take a moment to support the channel? A like helps the video be seen. A share brings this wisdom into the hands of someone else who might be feeling stuck. And a subscription helps us grow this movement, New Day Mindfulness, toward 2,000 subscribers. That's our next milestone, and every single person who joins brings more life into this channel's purpose. This is not a space for hype. This is a space for homes that heal. and your support helps that mission continue. Now take a breath and look around you, not just at what you see, but what you feel. Is the space you're in right now holding you or draining you? Is it buzzing with energy that serves you, or static that confuses you? What would it feel like to walk into a room that isn't just clean, but clear? That doesn't just smell nice, but stabilizes your mind after a long day? What would it be like to bring in a plant that doesn't need attention to do its job, but simply does it, silently, every day? That's what we're going to explore next. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll see your air, your energy, and your home differently. Ready to discover the detox plant that modern homes desperately need? Let's get into it. Number 1, energy signature. The Dracaena is not merely a plant, it's a posture, a vertical declaration in your home that says, this space has boundaries. Its long sword-like leaves don't just rise, they assert. Each blade-like frond cuts through haze, both literally and symbolically, clearing the air of toxins and the atmosphere of fatigue. In Feng Shui terms, the Dracaena represents a pure embodiment of upright wood energy, growth with direction, movement with purpose. And unlike trailing vines or soft-petaled bloomers, this is a plant that doesn't meander. It builds. It claims vertical space the way a person claims authority, not loudly but without apology. Its structure speaks of mental order, of routines at work, of thoughts clarified and retained, not lost in emotional drift. Its energy, while calming to some, is actually quite yang in nature. Proactive, filtering, transformative. You don't place a Dracaena to soften a room, you place it to sharpen it. This plant is ideal for households and workspaces that feel overstimulated or emotionally charged. Homes filled with electronics, constant blinking lights, screens, chargers, notifications, often accumulate a kind of stagnant key that doesn't leave when the phone is turned off. It lingers, it builds, it clings to the corners of your mind and clutters your ability to focus, to rest, to create. The Dracaena acts like an energetic editor, removing what is unnecessary, realigning what has become disjointed. Its natural air purifying capacity, confirmed by NASA studies decades ago, has always been appreciated. But in Feng Shui, the plant's real power lies not in removing chemical toxins, but emotional ones. It filters stale energy the same way it filters benzene or formaldehyde, silently, without ceremony, but with undeniable effect. One of the most common misalignments in modern interior design is the belief that calmness comes from softness. But in energy work, sometimes clarity is more important than comfort. The Dracaena is not here to make you feel cozy. It's here to make you feel capable, to hold your home upright when your thoughts begin to fold. In rooms where arguments have occurred, in offices where creative blocks persist, in dens where televisions blare endlessly but connection remains absent, the Dracaena serves as a quiet reset. It does not beg for water, it does not wilt easily, it survives neglect. And that very trait makes it an energetic match for people who are overwhelmed but still trying, for people who want to detox without drama, for people who don't need a floral explosion to feel better, they just need stillness to return. There's also something deeply symbolic about the way this plant interacts with light. It doesn't require direct sun to thrive. It performs in shadow, in corners, in the periphery. That matters in Feng Shui. Most wealth or luck plants need sunlight to activate their properties. But Dracaena teaches a different lesson. Not everything that grows must be spotlighted. Sometimes the most important support comes from the margins, from the places we forget, from the energetic gaps that traditional wisdom tells us to ignore. That's why in energy mapping, The Dracaena is often placed where qi has pulled too long. Dead corners, stagnant transitional spaces, entryways blocked by furniture or emotional hesitation. These are not decorative spaces. They are forgotten ones. And yet, once this plant is rooted there, things begin to shift. This plant, more than most, responds to order, not control, but clarity. When placed intentionally with its leaves wiped clean and its space honored, the Dracaena becomes something sacred, a steward of attention. It reminds the room and you that space is precious. That breath matters. That energy deserves flow, not just furniture. And that presence begins with filtration. It is quite literally the plant version of an exhale, not rushed, not flashy, but necessary. In sum, if your home has become a place where your mind won't settle or your thoughts won't sharpen, if your office feels too loud but your creativity too quiet, if you walk into certain rooms and feel the weight of things you thought you had already let go of, this is the plant that can help. Not with perfume, not with petals, but with quiet structure, vertical intention, and a kind of energetic discipline that doesn't demand applause. It just works. Number 2, best placement and setting. The placement of the Dracaena is not merely a question of aesthetics, it's a matter of energetic intention. In Feng Shui, where you put something determines what it does. The Dracaena, with its natural capacity to cleanse both the physical and subtle realms, is most potent when positioned in areas of high electrical stimulation or psychic noise. Think of the spaces in your home where energy collects but rarely clears. Corners filled with Wi-Fi routers, entertainment systems, printers, or charging stations. These are modern stress zones. Their physical hum might be quiet, but their energetic output is relentless. Place a Dracaena here, and it begins its quiet work. It doesn't block the technology, it buffers it. It doesn't fight the flow, it stabilizes it. Near televisions or screens, it acts as a green mediator between your nervous system and your overstimulated environment. It's particularly valuable in home offices where long hours of screen time create mental congestion and create a burnout. The plant won't give you new ideas, but it will clear the fog so you can find the ones that already live inside you. Another often overlooked but ideal location is the entryway. Feng Shui teaches that the entrance of a home is its mouth, the portal through which energy arrives. It's also where guests, intentions, and residual vibrations from the external world press into your inner sanctuary. Placing a Dracaena near this threshold is like installing a living gatekeeper. It doesn't judge or filter people, but it does filter energy. It takes in the remnants of your day before they follow you inside. Even more subtly, it helps your own ki transition from the outside hustle into the inner stillness. In this way, it doesn't just protect your home, it welcomes you back into it. Transitional spaces also benefit from its energy. Hallways are often forgotten zones, used but not loved. They're functionally important but spiritually neglected. Qi either dies there or rushes through. A Dracaena stabilizes the flow. In wide hallways or corners between rooms, it reclaims the lost intention. It says, this is not a passage, it's a place. The plant grounds at transitional moments in the same way it grounds chaotic atmospheres. Silently, faithfully, without requiring attention. However, for all its strength, the Dracaena is not a plant that belongs in every room. Bedrooms, for instance, are designed for surrender. They are yin spaces, emotionally soft, spiritually open, energetically quiet. The Dracaena's upright, yang-driven energy can be too alert for such environments. It can keep your nervous system subtly activated when it should be in restoration. You may not consciously register the disturbance, but over time, it can show up as disrupted sleep or unprocessed emotional agitation. Similarly, the plant should never be crammed into low-energy corners filled with clutter, neglect, or forgotten storage. These are spaces of stagnation, and the Dracaena is not a janitor, it's an amplifier. If the space it's in is chaotic, it will amplify that confusion. If it's clear, it will elevate that clarity. Another critical placement mistake is putting it directly under low-hanging beams or tight overhangs. The upward energy of this plant is part of what makes it so effective. When it feels compressed from above, that growth impulse becomes restricted. In Feng Shui language, its qi becomes pinched, and instead of lifting the room's energy, it begins to absorb frustration. You might find that instead of clarity, the room feels subtly pressured, an invisible weight that builds without explanation. The solution is simple. Give it air. Let it breathe. Let its verticality express without competition from architectural oppression. As for how to stage the plant physically, details matter. Container choice, stand elevation, and even color pairings can dramatically influence how the Dracaena functions. Dark green or black ceramic pots align beautifully with its purpose as a detoxifier. These colors support the water element, which in turn nourishes wood, the element that governs the plant. The visual cue alone, deep, stable, cool, tells your subconscious that this space is being cared for. Elevating the plant on a wood or metal stand also helps lift its qi. In Feng Shui, plants placed directly on the floor often have their energy sink into the foundation, making them less interactive with the surrounding field. But raise it just to waist level, and suddenly it becomes part of the room's conversation, not just a background figure. It participates in your energetic exchange. Finally, for homes filled with technology or anxiety, or both, consider placing a grounding crystal at the base of your Dracaena. Obsidian and black tourmaline are particularly effective. These stones don't sparkle or dazzle, but their role is just as meaningful as the plant itself. Where the Dracaena filters, these stones absorb and stabilize, especially in areas like a home office where ideas are exchanged rapidly and decisions made daily. This combination helps you maintain not only clarity, but emotional neutrality. In essence, the Dracaena is not a decor choice, it's an energetic prescription. Where you place it determines whether it clears your path or disappears into your landscape. Give it intention, and it will give you transformation. Respect its uprightness, and it will respect your space. Allow it to live where your energy needs clarity, and it will deliver exactly that. Not in dramatic bursts, but in the kind of quiet precision that builds better days and eventually better lives. Number 3, how Gwyneth Paltrow recharged her space. In the early months of 2020, as the world around her shifted and the nature of leadership evolved, Gwyneth Paltrow made a quiet, personal decision to re-engineer her creative headquarters. Not just to look refined, but to feel aligned. She wasn't just staging a new workspace, she was recalibrating an entire energy field. As her role deepened in steering Goop from wellness blog to full-spectrum brand, she recognized that success at this level required more than innovation. It required clarity, calm, and space, especially mental space. And so, in a private renovation of her home studio in Los Angeles, a space that would house product development, podcast creation, and strategic ideation, she didn't begin with technology or decor. She began with purification. According to someone close to her design team, the plan was to create a room that breathed, a room that held her focus when the headlines didn't, a room where energy didn't race, it clarified. At the center of this plan was an unlikely co-creator, the Dracaena marginata, not just one, 3 of them. These tall, architectural plants, known for their sharp vertical lines and resilience in low-light spaces, were strategically placed in key energetic nodes throughout the studio. One was positioned directly behind her main workstation, not as a backdrop, but as an energetic spine. Another stood beside the glass wall that reflected daylight but muted exterior distractions. The third quietly anchored the brainstorming corner, a space where creativity was meant to flow without force. To the untrained eye, these were just plants, but in the language of Feng Shui, they were gatekeepers. They didn't decorate the space, they defined it. They signaled structure in a realm often ruled by ambiguity. They provided vertical reinforcement in a life exposed to horizontal noise. Where chaos from digital commentary could slip in, these plants held their line. Where fatigue from constant decision-making could blur direction, these plants quietly filtered the fog. They didn't speak, but they aligned. They didn't shine, but they grounded. And in a home where everything else was curated, these were the one thing chosen not for appearance, but for presence. Dracaenas by nature are not delicate. They're not soft like orchids or romantic like peonies. They are spine-like. They rise, and that symbolism wasn't lost in this story. For someone like Gwyneth, whose career has danced between film, fashion, wellness, and now digital entrepreneurship, the need for internal clarity has never been greater. In times where public scrutiny can be relentless and the emotional landscape of online business feels ever-shifting, it wasn't a color palette or a new lamp that shifted her energy. It was the presence of something that held the line day after day, regardless of the emotional weather. That's what a Dracaena does. It clears what doesn't serve. It protects what's worth growing. It detoxes not just the air, but the narrative. And so the lesson becomes clear, not just for celebrities, but for all of us who are trying to live with more intention in spaces that are overloaded with expectation. The most important redesign in your life may not come from adding more. It may come from clearing what's clouding you. Sometimes progress isn't louder, it's leaner. Gwyneth didn't need more ambition, she needed focus. She didn't seek to decorate, she sought to fortify. And that's the real role of the Dracaena, not to be noticed, but to notice what needs release. Not to impress, but to support. Not to fill space, but to refine it. Number 4, common mistakes. One of the most overlooked aspects of working with energetic plants is not their placement, but their condition. In Feng Shui, physical health and energetic function are reflections of one another. When a plant begins to fail, it's not just a botanical issue, it's a message, a mirror. And with the Dracaena, that mirror often shows up first in the tips of its leaves. Browning edges are easy to ignore at first, a slight crisp at the end of an otherwise tall, vibrant stalk. But in energy language, this is the equivalent of emotional delay. These leaf tips tell you where you're hesitating, where you're living in indecision, where you've said, I'll get to it later, but later has come and gone and the unresolved tension still lingers. Browning tips are the slow erosion of momentum. They symbolize what we've tolerated too long. Unspoken arguments, unopened emails, unfinished commitments. So don't just prune the damage, acknowledge what it reflects. Trim with intention. Wipe each leaf clean. Let the care you show the plant become a ritual for caring for your clarity. The second mistake is subtle but common, underestimating light. Yes, the Dracaena is known for surviving in low-light environments. That's one reason it's so beloved in offices and apartments. But survival is not the same as strength. In Feng Shui, light is more than visibility, it's vitality. A Dracaena kept in dim corners or far from any natural rhythm may look alive. But slowly, the leaves dull, the growth slows, and the energy it once carried, strong, vertical, precise, begins to blur. If your plant looks dull, your space may feel the same. And if your space feels dull, your mind is likely matching its rhythm. To fix this, don't flood the plant with harsh sunlight. Offer it a warm, indirect source, a lamp with a soft tone, a nearby window with sheer curtains. Think of light as a steady source of qi, the way morning clarity seeps into your consciousness when the blinds are first opened. That's the feeling you want to replicate. You're not just feeding the plant, you're recharging the entire corner of your life that it protects. The third and perhaps most misunderstood mistake is using the Dracaena as a filler. This is not a throwaway plant, not a visual patch for awkward layouts or neglected corners. A Dracaena should never be hidden behind a rarely used armchair, stuffed next to a coat rack, or wedged between unopened moving boxes. Energetically, that's like asking a bodyguard to stand behind the curtain. In Feng Shui, space is language. And when you relegate a powerful plant to a space you don't care about, you tell the universe that its message isn't important. The Dracaena is a cleansing agent. It needs space to operate. It needs a perimeter, a field of function. When you place it near clutter, it gets buried in the very noise it's trying to clear. And slowly, it stops trying. It becomes decoration, dormant, lost. So reclaim its purpose. Give it a zone. Treat it like the energetic ally it is. Create a small pocket of intentional space around it, even if just 2 feet in diameter. Clear the visual chaos. Offer it a floor it can stand on. And in return, it will offer you an atmosphere that breathes more easily, thinks more clearly, and supports your inner reboot. These are not gardening tips. These are energetic agreements. When you care for a Dracaena with precision, you begin to care for your mental bandwidth in the same way. It teaches you how to maintain the margins of your life, not with perfection, but with presence. A brown leaf isn't failure, it's feedback. A dusty plant isn't forgettable, it's forgotten. And a cluttered corner doesn't just need cleaning, it needs clarity. The Dracaena reflects all of this. It doesn't raise its voice. It simply responds to what you've created. And when you respond in return, with light, space, and gentle attention, it rewards you with an atmosphere you can finally think in, breathe in, and grow from. Number 5, who should use this plan? There are homes where everything looks fine on the surface. Furniture placed just so, colors that coordinate, plants in the corners. But the air feels heavy, not because of dust, but because of decisions delayed. Conversations half finished, projects started with excitement and then quietly abandoned. In these spaces, comfort is present, but clarity is missing, and that's exactly where the Dracaena belongs. This plant is not for the beginner who wants lush beauty and easy bloom. It's not for the collector who values plants as trophies. It is for the person who has reached a moment of pause, a threshold where they realize that what's clouding them is not complexity, but clutter. And they are ready to reclaim their space, not loudly, not with drama, but with invisible precision. The Dracaena is built for modern chaos, for tech-heavy homes where Wi-Fi pulses through the walls and screens never stop glowing, for professionals whose offices hum with artificial light, open days, and never-ending notifications. If you live in a place like that, if you work in a place like that, your nervous system is absorbing signals all day. And over time, the clarity of your own energy becomes hard to hear. The Dracaena helps restore that signal. It's the energetic equivalent of taking your space off speakerphone and back into direct connection. But its power goes deeper than the digital. This is a plant for those who are detoxing emotionally, mentally, even karmically. Not with a big announcement, not with a new vision board, but with the quiet removal of what no longer belongs. Overcommitted schedules, one-sided relationships, old identities that were useful once but are now weighing you down. The Dracaena doesn't judge what you used to need. It just holds space for what you're becoming. It clears the fog so you can walk your path more directly. It holds a container while you redefine your standards. It stands tall when you're rebuilding boundaries. Emotionally, this plant is best suited for those who are ready to stop absorbing everyone else's energy. For the person who is learning that saying yes to everything is not generosity, it's depletion. For the person whose life has been lived in reaction mode, who now wants to move with intention. The Dracaena is not a comfort blanket, it's a recalibration tool. It won't console you when you're tired, but it will stand quietly beside you while you reset. It teaches you the strength of saying less, choosing fewer, and clearing deeper. So if your home feels busy but stagnant, if your calendar is full, but your soul feels foggy, if your mind is sharp, but your energy is slow, this plant might be your next ally, not because it will change everything instantly, but because it will quietly support the change you've already chosen. It doesn't give you motivation, it gives you margin. The space to focus again, to decide again, to move forward again, without chaos clinging to your heels. Some plants exist to please the eye, others to soften the heart. But the Dracaena doesn't come with that kind of invitation. It's not here for decoration. It's not here for charm. It's here for correction. To restore order where energy has wandered. To hold posture in rooms where intentions have collapsed under the weight of distraction. In Feng Shui, we say that not all support is soft. Sometimes support stands tall, straight, focused, unmoved by the noise of a scattered day or the disarray of an overloaded mind. And that is the quiet service the Dracaena provides. It doesn't bloom to impress, it filters to protect. It recalibrates what has been ignored. It anchors what has been overwhelmed. In a world where noise is constant, where your inbox, your phone, your home, your mind are constantly competing for your attention, the most profound transformations often arrive in silence. Not with a bang, not with a chant, but with a shift in the atmosphere so subtle, you don't notice the room feels lighter until suddenly you breathe deeper, you think clearer, you move more deliberately, and then you realize the change didn't come from doing more. It came from removing what was draining you, slowly, consistently, without applause. So take a quiet moment now. Ask yourself, where in your home is the energy thick and unspoken? Where in your life have you been tolerating fog, energetic or emotional? Is it that corner you've been meaning to clear but always delay? That part of your day that feels heavier than it should? Or is it internal, a frequency that no longer fits who you're becoming? Because this is the kind of plant that doesn't ask you to redesign your space. It asks you to realign with it, to reclaim clarity not through control, but through subtraction, to make space not just for breath, but for discernment, and to bring presence back to places that have become storage instead of sanctuary. If a Dracaena already lives with you, I invite you to see it differently now, not just as a plant, but as an ally, a boundary, a signal that your space is no longer open to what drains it. And if you've never had one, maybe now is the moment to invite this quiet teacher into your home. Let me know in the comments, what part of your environment is asking for detox right now? What part of your energy needs a spine, not a softening? I read every message, and this community learns as much from each other as we do from the plants themselves. And if this video shifted something for you, even slightly, please share it. Someone you know may be living in a beautiful room that still feels energetically wrong, not because of design, but because of what hasn't been cleared. And subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We are growing toward 2,000 subscribers, and every new voice adds strength to this field we're building together. Not a place for spiritual fluff, but for grounded wisdom, for homes that don't just look good, but feel aligned. Let's keep creating those homes together.